Article 51 exposed, MP Sunday Chanda's shocking legal defense against Bill No. 7 amendment. What if a single amendment to a law could change the balance of power in Zambia, alter the way citizens are represented, and limit your voice in parliament? Honorable Sunday Chanda, one of Zambia's sharpest legal minds, has just presented a powerful argument against the Article 51 amendment in Bill No. 7, exposing its potential risks. In this video, we break down exactly what he said, why it matters for every Zambian, and what could happen if this bill is passed without scrutiny. Stay tuned, this is one of the most important debates shaping Zambia's political and legal future. Good day viewers. Welcome to another edition of InspirAfrica Official. I'm Nakash, and I hope you're having a productive week as we head into the final stretch of 2025. Today, we're diving into a constitutional controversy that has Zambia's political establishment in turmoil. Picture this, a nation stands on the precipice of a constitutional amendment. The year is 2026. Parliament prepares to dissolve. And in the shadows of legislative chambers, a single clause, just 7 words changed, threatens to reshape the entire landscape of Zambian democracy. What happens when the very rules designed to protect independent candidates become weapons that force them into impossible choices? When does a technical amendment transform into a constitutional trap? How can a member of parliament be forced to abandon their seat 3 months before parliament dissolves, leaving their constituents voiceless during the most critical period of national decision-making? And what does it mean when the price of seeking re-election as an independent isn't just political courage, but constitutional suicide? This is the story of Article 51. A legal time bomb hidden inside Bill No. 7. And one member of parliament who dared to expose it. The question is not whether this amendment will pass. The question is, at what cost to Zambian democracy? Factual foundation. The revelation came to light on December 10, 2025, when Honorable Sunday Chanda, Member of Parliament for Kanchabia constituency, published a detailed legal analysis that sent shockwaves through Zambia's political establishment. The proposed amendment targets Article 51(a) of the Constitution, replacing the words of the election with "for nominations," a change that might seem purely technical to the casual observer. But here's what that seemingly minor textual shift actually means on the ground. Under the current constitution, aspiring independent candidates must resign from their political parties at least 2 months before election day. This has been the standard since the 2016 constitution was adopted. It's worked. It's been tested. It's been fair. Bill No. 7 changes everything. The amendment moves the 2-month countdown backward, way backward. Instead of measuring from election day, it now measures from nomination day. And here's where it gets complicated. The Electoral Commission of Zambia typically sets nomination days at least 90 days before polling. With Parliament scheduled to dissolve in May 2026, nomination day will also fall around May 2026. Do the math, that means February 2026 becomes the new deadline. MPs who want to run as independents would need to resign from their parties by February. A full 3 to 4 months earlier than under the current system. But here's the constitutional collision nobody's talking about. Article 72(2)(d) states explicitly that any member of parliament who resigns from their party automatically vacates their seat. MPs intending to stand as independent candidates would be compelled to resign by February 2026, thereby vacating their seats 3 months before Parliament dissolves, leaving their constituencies completely unrepresented during what Chanda describes as a crucial period of national decision-making. This isn't a theoretical problem. This is a real constitutional crisis waiting to happen in just 2 months. Direct evidence. In his detailed legal memorandum, MP Chanda laid out the case with surgical precision. His words cut through the political rhetoric and exposed the raw mechanics of what this amendment actually does. He begins with a simple observation. The proposed amendment to Article 51(a) of the Constitution, which replaces the words of the election with 4 nominations, may seem technical on the surface. Yet its real-world impact is anything but minor. This small textual change fundamentally restructures the legal framework governing independent candidature. But it's in his breakdown of the practical consequences that the true danger emerges. Addressing the accelerated timeline, Chanda writes, this accelerates the resignation deadline by 3 to 4 months, creating a completely new and restrictive electoral reality. On the constitutional contradiction between Article 51 and Article 72, his analysis becomes even more pointed. This is an inconvenience as much as it is a forced early termination of representation created by the amendment itself. It introduces an internal contradiction in the Constitution between Article 51 and Article 72. Then comes perhaps his most damning argument, one that directly addresses the ongoing crisis within the Patriotic Front Party. The current unresolved situation in the Patriotic Front, PF, is a clear example of the dangers of this change, he explains. With ongoing uncertainty about who the legitimate officebearers are, whether the party meets eligibility requirements, and whether PF will even appear on the 2026 ballot, party members face an impossible choice. Chanda doesn't mince words about what this means. If the amendment stands, PF members, whether in parliament or outside, wishing to safeguard their eligibility as independents must resign by February 2026, even if, 1, the intra-party dispute remains unresolved, 2, the courts have not pronounced themselves, or, 3, ECZ has not clarified the party's status. His conclusion? This forces individuals into hasty resignations based on fear, not informed choice. But who actually benefits from this change? Chanda identifies 3 groups. The only clear beneficiaries of this amendment are, A. Political parties seeking to discipline or punish internal dissent, B. Party elites who wish to consolidate control over candidate selection, and C. Actors who prefer constrained rather than competitive political participation. In constitutional law, any restriction on fundamental rights must meet what's called the Article 11 test. Chanda argues this amendment fails spectacularly. Forcing citizens, especially sitting MPs, to resign months earlier, at the cost of representation and certainty, fails all 4 standards. This renders the amendment constitutionally vulnerable and potentially open to judicial challenge. His final assessment pulls no punches. In its current form, the amendment to Article 51 risks injuring our democratic processes rather than strengthening them. Deeper analysis. The implications of Chanda's analysis extend far beyond a single clause in a constitutional amendment. They strike at the heart of how power operates in Zambian politics. Consider the timing. Bill number 7 is currently undergoing Parliamentary Select Committee scrutiny. According to earlier statements from Chanda himself, the process includes receiving submissions, examining the bill clause by clause, and preparing recommendations before the second reading debate. But here's what makes this moment so critical. Once the bill reaches the second reading, it requires a 2/3 majority to proceed. After that comes the Committee of the Whole House, where actual textual changes can be made. Then the third reading. Then presidential assent. The window for meaningful change is closing rapidly. The Article 51 amendment doesn't exist in isolation. Chanda has also opposed other provisions in Bill 7, particularly Articles 57 and 72(8), which he argues create a double standard between independent MPs and party-sponsored MPs when it comes to filling vacancies. What we're witnessing is a broader pattern, amendments that systematically strengthen party control while weakening individual political agency. The opposition to Bill 7 has been fierce. The Catholic Church, through voices like Father Chris Chanda Mukuka from the Diocese of Pika, has called for the bill's withdrawal. The Oasis Forum, the Law Association of Zambia, and numerous civil society organizations have raised alarms. Even within Parliament, MPs like Chanda Katotobe from the Patriotic Front have cautioned that the constitutional amendment process appears driven by propaganda rather than genuine national consensus. Government spokesperson Cornelius Mwitwa has defended Bill 7, insisting it's different from the controversial Bill 10 of 2019. But the specific concerns raised by Sunday Chanda about Article 51 remain largely unaddressed in the public domain. Legal experts point to the broader question of constitutional integrity. When amendments create internal contradictions, like forcing MPs to vacate seats they were elected to represent, the Constitution itself becomes less coherent, less predictable, and ultimately less protective of citizens' rights. There's also the question of judicial review. As Chanda notes, the amendment appears vulnerable to constitutional challenge. But litigation takes time. And by the time courts rule, the 2026 elections may have already been conducted under the new rules. So there you have it, viewers. The Article 51 Amendment, 7 words that could change everything. A legal argument that exposes the hidden mechanics of political control. And one member of parliament willing to speak truth to power even when that power resides in the very institution he serves. Thank you so much for watching today's edition of InspirAfrica Official. This is exactly the kind of detailed constitutional analysis our democracy needs. Not sound bites, not slogans, but careful legal reasoning about the rules that will shape our political future. What do you think? Should Article 51 be revised before Bill 7 passes? Does forcing MPs to resign 3 months early protect democracy or undermine it? And what happens to constituencies left unrepresented during that critical period? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Let's have a real conversation about the future of Zambian democracy. I'll be back tomorrow with more stories that matter, more analysis you can trust, and more voices that deserve to be heard. Until then, stay informed, stay engaged, and remember, democracy isn't something that just happens to us. It's something we build together, one constitutional clause at a time. This is Nakash for InspirAfrica Official. Take care.